I've been wanting to make the vacuum caddy to be able to hold the dust stopper for quite some time now. And this vacuum by DeWalt was the perfect platform to be able to do this on. One, I really like the vacuum, and two, it had a perfect platform on top to be able to use to build this little caddy. It was very simple design. Now I had a basic concept of what I wanted to be able to do, and I used the styrofoam to start off to create my basic idea. And from there, it evolved as I was building this. Some of the things I had planned on doing actually changed in the course of the design and putting this together. But in the end, I really like how it turned out, and I'm going to show you how I built it today. I had a basic idea of what I wanted for this little caddy to be able to hold the 5-gallon bucket for the dust stopper. Because I really only had that concept, I decided to take just a piece of foam and start cutting and shaping and having an idea develop. Once that idea was developed, it was time to bring it over to the plywood itself. The plywood that I'm using is from the old flag glue-up jig that I had that completely warped. So it was unusable for that, but this is going to be the perfect material to be able to make this little caddy for the dust stopper. The first step, of course, was to disassemble the glue-up jig for this flag, and you can see just how warped this plywood was. But it'll still make a good platform and be able to recycle this material. The foam itself was a real good means to be able to do this because I could cut it easily, shape it, and test it onto the vacuum cleaner until everything was working and the concept had developed. Then transferring this over to the plywood, I just had to make sure that with all the old lines that were on here already, I had to make sure that I was using the correct lines before cutting it out, because you can see all type of drawings on here. You can see old screw holes that were in there. And again, all of that is just fine. Just had to be careful. Now the next thing I want to do is just put a little nail right there in the center, and I'm going to draw the circle. And that circle is going to be for the hole for the bucket itself and for the outer diameter. Now the next question that you may ask is, why did I not design this and cut it out on the CNC machine? Well, that's a really good question, because had I had a good workable design, and I could just put it into the software, yes, this would be a real easy project to be able to cut it out on the CNC machine. Unfortunately, I didn't have any of that. All I had was a simple idea that I didn't know if it was going to work or not, and I didn't want to waste the wood on an idea that didn't work. So that's why I started out with the foam. That's why everything got transferred to the wood, and then we're going to make still changes as I go through this project. I'm not sure if you can see the pencil line very well in the camera, so I decided to take a red marker and use the bucket and go on the outside. I want this to be a little bit larger so that the bucket will actually drop down into this little caddy. Now if you realize this, the bucket's actually tapered, so you have to make the hole just a little bit bigger, and that's why I'm using the marker the way that I am, and it corresponds to the pencil line. Again, I'm just not sure that you can see the pencil line in the camera, so thus the red marker. With all the lines transferred onto the plywood from my foam and all the circles drawn, it's time now to use the jigsaw and cut everything out. Once this is cut out, I'm going to take it over to the vacuum cleaner and just see if it's actually going to fit. Now the first section is cut out. I need to test this. This is the critical part. It needs to fit underneath the handle on this vacuum. And it does fit, but it's not fitting correctly. I need to cut out this other section. Those corners need to get cut square. I need to remove that material on each side so that it will slide into this slot further. So it's back to the jigsaw, and let's get that cut. You can see it better here. These little corners need to be cut out. That needs to be extended right there to that cut line, and same thing on this side. That way it will slide all the way up, and that little inside corner piece gets removed. Also at this time, I'm going to go ahead and cut out the two circles. The outer circle for the actual total diameter, and the inner circle for the bucket itself. And the next question you're going to ask is, why didn't I use the bandsaw? Well, as first, the jigsaw works real well for this type of an application, and two, my bandsaw is not big enough to build a handle piece of wood this size. Thus, the jigsaw was the perfect tool to build and make this cut. A quick stop at the oscillating sander. I want to be able to sand these edges and get them really nice and smooth, because this is going to act as a template. This piece actually is going to form the top of this little caddy, and I need one exactly the same size to be the bottom. And I'll use this as a template to be able to accomplish that. I don't want any sharp edges on this. I want to be able to use this little bottle, which is going to be the perfect radius, and just be able to soften these edges. That way the cords, the hoses, myself, is not going to get caught or hurt on these edges with it being rounded over like that. So after sanding, here's a close-up look at what it's going to look like all finished. And again, this is going to be the top, and I'm going to use this as the template. But let's test it out on the vacuum itself and make sure that it's going to fit. And we'll slip this in underneath the handle, and that is exactly what I want. This comes up to the edge where I want it, and there's exact room for the bucket. Okay, now that I know that it's going to work, I'm going to take my second piece of that scrap material, or the other half of that old flag jig, and we're going to duplicate this. I'm just going to line it up on the edge, and then I'll take the pencil and draw the outline. That outline will give me the basis to be able to use to cut it out with the jigsaw, and I want to cut it out just a little bit oversized. Because then I'll take a flush trim router bit, and I'll be able to bring it over to the router table and cut it and make an exact duplicate. With the flush trim bit installed in the router table and these two pieces of wood nailed together, I can actually make the exact copy. And this is a very simple and fast way to be able to do that. Okay, the work is all done now on the router table, and we can take a look at this edge, and it looks real good. Here's a close-up look at it, and that I think is going to be fantastic. So I have duplicated now the two pieces, the top and the bottom. I decided to use dowel rods to be able to separate these two pieces. So if I line this up with a protractor right in the center, and I can measure out 120 degrees. That's going to give me 3 evenly spaced dowel rods around the perimeter of this circle. I want to take and put these two pieces back together and take them over to the drill press. With these holes marked exactly where I want them, 120 degrees apart, I'll be able to drill the holes through the top and into the bottom. That way the reference will be from the top all the way through, and it'll be exact. There's no guesswork that way. I'm using the drill press to be able to drill these holes and make sure that they're exactly square. I don't want this to be offset, because that would really mess up the whole entire project if the dowel rods did not line up correctly. And this gives me the perfect alignment that I need for that. Now is finally time to cut out this inner hole that the bucket's going to be sitting in. And again, I'm using the jigsaw to be able to cut this out, and then I'll bring it over to the oscillating sander just to clean up this inner circle. The way I have the measurement set up is I put the stop block at 13 inches, and then that little short stick that I have, well, that's 10 inches long. And by being able to do that, it actually creates an auxiliary fence for me that works absolutely perfect. I have two short pieces of dowel rod. One of them is 1 3/8 inch diameter, and I'll be able to get 3 pieces out of that. And the other piece of dowel rod is 1 inch in diameter, and I'll be able to get 2 out of that. I set this up to be able to cut these 3 inches each. And quite frankly, had I had one dowel rod of the same diameter, I would have used that. But this way it uses up this little scrap, and again, this little caddy is not costing anything at all. And you can see I barely had enough to be able to cut that last 3-inch dowel rod. I'm using my center finder that I made several years ago, and it still works just fine. And I'm going to mark the center of the dowel rod on both ends, And then I'm going to take that over to the drill press and drill a pilot hole. Again, I want these dowel rods to line up perfectly between the top and the bottom piece. And this is the best way to do it. I'm going to take them over to the drill press and drill the pilot hole in. Again, I want that hole to be nice and square, and in my opinion, the drill press is the best way to do that. If I used a hand drill, well, more than likely it would go in a little bit crooked. This way I can ensure that the screw will be able to go directly into the center and remain square. That will hold everything in place. Before assembling everything, I'm going to take everything back over to the router table, and I have a 1/4 inch roundover bit installed, and I'm going to take all of these sharp edges and just round them off. Normally at this point, once everything was done, I would take this outside and spray paint it. Well, it's 25 degrees outside, and the spray paint's just not going to work real well in that type of cold weather. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and assemble this, put it together, test it out, and make sure that everything works as I think it will work. And later on, when the weather gets a little bit nicer, yeah, I'll take it apart, take it outside, and spray paint everything black to be able to match the vacuum. Well, it's time now to assemble everything. I'm using 1 5/8 inch screws on the perimeter. I screwed those through the plywood itself on the bottom, and then I can just simply screw on the dowel rods. And that worked out really, really well. Now for the 2 screws that are on the front part, on that tongue, I could not use the 1 5/8 inch. They were too long and they would not slip underneath that handle. So I had to switch over and use a 1 inch screw to be able to put those on. Now I'll take this base and slide it right underneath that handle. And then I have a little small support block that will go underneath to be able to fill that little void that's on the vacuum itself. Then I'll take the remaining 2 dowel rods, and just so you know, these were the 1 inch diameter dowel rods, and I'll screw those on just as I did for the other 3. And with these 2 attached, now it's time to add the top. Now I had considered a lot of different methods to be able to secure this and hold it in place. And quite frankly, I think this is the simplest, easiest way to be able to do it, and it works real well. Now I'm going to put in this first screw loose so that I can rotate this top ring to be able to align it up with the pilot hole in the dowel rod, and then I'll screw it in place. Again, that's the purpose of having the pilot holes in place, to make sure that everything lines up exactly as it should. Now this takes just a little bit of effort to feel on exactly where that hole is going to be, but once you have it in place, then the rest of it goes together very easily, because everything else is going to line up once I have these 2 in place. The third one is already aligned. I don't have to worry about it. It will screw directly in, as well as the front 2. And you can see that these don't take any type of effort screwing them in at all, because they are perfectly aligned. And at this point, this little caddy is completely done. By adding this to the vacuum, I have not lost any functionality of the vacuum at all. I still have a place to be able to secure the cord and store it out of the way when I'm not using the vacuum, because I can simply wrap it around this caddy that holds the bucket. As far as the hose itself, the hose is really no different. I can take the hose and put it around the bucket itself to be able to store it. And most important, I did not lose access to the tool caddy. I can put all the accessories in there, still be able to have easy access to them when I need it. The cord's securely wrapped, and the hose is not going to go anywhere, being wrapped around the bucket. And I still have full access to the switch to be able to turn it off and on. In addition to that, rolling it around the shop now has become really, really easy. I don't have to worry about dragging the vacuum and then the bucket separately. And then the big question is, how does it work? Well, I can roll this wherever I need to. I can now clean up the different areas very easily, and I don't have to be looking over my shoulder to see if that 5-gallon bucket had tipped over. I know with confidence that it's all staying in place, and it's easy to be able to now clean up these areas, and I can save a lot of time in the shop. This is the solution that I have been looking for a long time. I'm so glad that I did this project today. So thanks a lot for following along the building of this caddy for the vacuum with hold that 5-gallon bucket. This is really a game changer. This is something that was really needed in the shop for quite a while, because for quite some time now, when I'm moving around the shop trying to clean up, that 5-gallon bucket would turn over on the floor, and I'd have to stop, pick up the bucket again, and reset the hoses. Well, all of that's behind me now. I don't have to worry about that. Now I can easily take this vacuum anywhere in the shop to be able to do the cleanup. That is so much nicer. Now, if you like this video, by all means, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe right down there below, and take a look at the videos up here for some more tips and tricks that you can learn and that you can apply to your shop. So for now, I'm going to say bye-bye to everyone, and I'll see you real soon in the next video.